Hey guys, hope you're well and welcome to my most disappointing albums of 2025. These are mid albums that either I had high expectations for or simply fell flat in comparison to the artist's previous work. And a quick reminder that these are not the worst albums of the year, but simply albums that just didn't quite hit the mark amongst all the gems of music that came out this year. Starting the list, we've got Happiness Is Going to Get You by Allie, who is usually an excellent alt-pop singer and songwriter. She's got this almost enigmatic charisma behind her work. It's quirky and interesting. But on this new album, we get a sort of more personal approach with this slightly more mellowed indie pop vibe. And it just feels like throughout most of the songs, there's not that much substance or many key takeaways. I fell in love with Allie X's work when she released Girl With No Face last year. I mean, that was one of my favorite albums of 2024, so I had high expectations. I thought the 80s synth pop work was very impressive with very intricate production, but on this album, I don't feel like you get that crisp production value, and also a lot of the songs in the middle of this album are heavily swayed towards that ballad type, and that just doesn't really stand out to me as much as her previous work did, which sort of encapsulated you inside this mysterious retro world. The lead single, Is Anybody Out There, was pretty good, but I feel like it's the first song on the album, and I feel like it starts with the strongest song before slowly just zoning out, if that makes sense. But then also Seventh Floor is also a pretty good song, and then the closing track, It's Just Light, is also very good. It's just that middle section that sort of doesn't encapsulate you, and it sort of just doesn't reach the high points of her previous work. So for that reason, it's a pretty disappointing album. And actually, I think the title track here is the weakest song because it lacks that strong pop chemistry. Next, we have Deadbeat by Tame Impala, which divided a lot of fans earlier this year. Kevin Parker developed himself as this sort of psychedelic rock and EDM / synth pop wizard. And then he has sort of begun to reinvent himself as an EDM and techno DJ, which is fine, but it's clear that he's still learning his way around the genre and is sort of trying to find his own style within that. I mean, he had a masterful album run all the way from Inner Speaker to The Slow Rush. All of those albums are excellent. But on this new album, Deadbeat, it just feels like there's something missing. It feels like it's missing just that spark of life, that spark of genius from Kevin Parker. It's mostly mid with some forgettable tracks, and I just wish there was an addition of real complex instrumentation, which is what makes Tame Impala stand out. I mean, he's a multi-instrumentalist, right? But there are still some sweet tunes on here, like Dracula, My Old Ways, and Afterthought. All three of those are actually great tracks. It's just the rest of the album goes in such highs and lows that it's sort of difficult to resonate with the whole album altogether. I think the weakest tracks are easily No Reply and Oblivion, being some of Tame Impala's worst songs. So for that reason, this album is unfortunately disappointing. Next, we have Ricochet by Rise Against, which is a well-respected rock band that have been around for a long time now. They are well into their career now and known for hits like Savior, which I love, and Prayer of the Refugee as well. And to release an album like this far into your career with, frankly, quite bad production is just not okay. You may have heard these opinions circling around the internet already, but the mixing of the vocals here is just not good. Throughout all the songs, you either hear the instruments in the forefront or the vocals, and when you do hear the vocals, they have this sort of weird tunnel effect on them. And there are some good ideas on here. Unfortunately, you just can't get past that sound quality. And I did expect continuous fire, especially after their previous album, which I thought was great, Nowhere Generation. I think the last couple tracks on here pick it up a little bit. You have songs like Soldier and Prize Fighter, which are decent, but unfortunately no more than that. And I think the worst track on here is, once again, the title track. So for such a big and well-respected rock band to release an album this poor is just disappointing, unfortunately. Next, I've put Gold Star Baby by The Aces, who are a indie rock and indie pop band who make catchy tunes about catching feelings mixed with some humorous twists. Now, this new album cites disco themes, it's kind of funky and groovy, but it's played very safe. Unfortunately, on the whole, it's got quite bland production and instrumentation that just isn't very interesting amongst the sea of other great indie tunes that are already out there. And their previous album, I've Loved You For So Long, was great. It had a lot of fiery indie passion behind it. And on a similar note, the lead single, The Magic, was great. And that's actually what made me have high hopes for the album. I thought we'd get more groovy and upbeat, fast-paced tracks like that. But the rest of the album just unfortunately did not deliver to the same standard. I expected more catchy riffs and rock melodies to sort of captivate you. I wanted to hear a bit more of a play on percussion as well. It's a shame because I feel like the band has a lot of talent. I'm just unfortunately not hearing it on this album. A lot of songs go in one ear and out the other just because it's nothing you haven't really heard before from the genre. And there are still some great tracks on here like The Magic, Fire in the Hole, and Jealous. Those songs are pretty good. My least favorite track here is You Got Me. Again, it just feels a bit bland amongst their discography. And I do applaud the band for trying a slightly different genre. You know, it's fun to experiment with different ideas, but it's just missing that spark, which is what made the band find their success in the first place. And finally, on my list, and this may surprise some people, but I have put bbno Money's new self-titled album. bbno Money is an internet meme star and TikTok rapper who honestly I think is quite entertaining. He seems like a great guy. I mean, just in the stuff that he posts, he interacts with fans a lot. He knows what works in terms of his music genre. It's clear that fans love him and he plays along with jokes. And I mean, he's got some stupidly catchy tunes like La 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 and Edamame as well, which is a great song. So when I heard that he was releasing his full-length self-titled album, I was pretty excited. I mean, he had a lot of great singles out like Check and 1-800, which I thought were really good songs. But unfortunately, this album is bloated as hell. I mean, it's got 21 songs on it, which is just crazy when it comes to bbno Money. I mean, most of his songs are like 2 minutes long, 3 minutes max. And it's just heavily hit or miss. Like, listening to the album from start to finish, you go from a hit to a dud, a hit to quite a bad song, to be honest. Half of the tracks here are just not good at all, with some very repetitive lyrics that just get annoying quick, which is a shame because the other half of the album has a lot of hits like 1-800, Check, Gigolo, and even Bag TF Up is also very catchy as an opening track. But again, it gets a bit repetitive and therefore annoying. You have songs like ADD and Boom towards the end of the album, which just make you want to turn it off before it even finishes. But look, when he does release a hit, like Gigolo for example, it is so catchy, gets stuck in your head, and I was just hoping for a slightly slimmed down and more polished version of that. You know, they have good flow and entertaining lyrics, but on the whole, this is just a messy album. It has far too many songs, it's bloated and repetitive, which makes it a disappointing album. So there you have it. There are my 5 most disappointing albums of the year. These are albums that I really wanted to like because I'm a big fan of these artists, but unfortunately I was just completely left underwhelmed. I'm sure there are a lot more underwhelming and disappointing albums out there that I just did not hear, or maybe I forgot to put on a list. So make sure to comment below what your most disappointing albums of the year are. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this. That would be greatly appreciated. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.